So the flow of money, negative rates, the great rate debate of where we go in 2020. I want to start with that concept, that negative rates, we hear this myth around the markets that negative rates are pushing up private equity values. Is that real or mythology?
It is real. I mean, if you look at negative interest rates or low interest rates, I mean, it's not negative in every place. It does have the effect of creating an asset bubble. So we find some of the valuations in some of the markets just high because you can deploy leverage at very low rates.
Where's the most at risk as you look across the panoply of assets?
Look, any asset against which you can borrow, and borrow significantly is at risk, and any place which has got easy money, cheap money, like in the United States, I think the valuations are pretty high.
You've spent 2 days, we've bumped into one another a couple of times around the corridors, so I want to get a sense of the conversations that you've had in terms of the flow of money into private equity, the China-US relations. How is that trade angst impacting PE, private equity, in our region?
First of all, it's been a fantastic forum, the Bloomberg New Economy Forum. It's been great sessions, great conversations, great set of people. Low interest rates, people are chasing yields. And it's led to absurd situations where companies with triple C ratings are able to raise money in some markets at 4 to 8% kind of yield. So it's crazy. And if one were to believe that interest rates are going to remain low, in the long run, people need to look at alternative assets, including but not limited to private equity. So that's the first point I would make. The second is, of course, a lot of the discussion today is about US-China trade friction. And of course, when two elephants fight, the ants get crushed and no country is an island. But having said that, if you look at trade and investment flows across certain other corridors, such as China into Africa, India into Africa, intra-Asian trade and investment flows. You look at even China into UAE or India into UAE, closer home to us. That's still growing. I mean, China-Africa trade, I think over the last 3 years has grown by 50%. India-Africa trade over the same period has grown by 40%. Intra-Asia trade has grown by about 25%. So there is still growth happening.
Would you talk about our home region, which obviously is the UAE? You've got exposure in Africa and Asia, but you're seeing the potential for more deals within GCC.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are close to consummating a deal in the food sector.
You're going to tell me which country?
Not as yet, it's GCC, but at the appropriate time. Yes, I mean, we are excited by the opportunity, and particularly things like the change in the social and cultural context in Saudi is creating opportunities.
Well, what about the IPO in Saudi? I mean, I was in Saudi 10 days ago for the FII. We've now got a very global IPO, which has become very, very regional. 1.5% to go. So is it disappointing, or is that just media criticism?
Look, I mean, there is a time and a place to go global. There is a time and place to go local or regional. And it's a function of valuation. I presume the people at Aramco thought at this valuation, we might as well keep the IPO small and do it domestically. You got to fish where the fish are. And right now the fish are who are willing to invest at the right valuation happen to be there.
What does it mean for global flow of money into the kingdom and our region? I think that's the more important point, because this was one of those litmus test moments.
I don't think this changes the long-term direction or the medium-term direction of the attractiveness of the market. Clearly, there are always challenges and the risks and opportunities, and you can answer it in the macro, but ultimately investors look very micro at each situation. Is the valuation right? Is that a compelling, attractive buy in relation to every other opportunity you have elsewhere in the world?
The people that you talk to at home in the GCC, are they tempted to buy this IPO?
I have not spoken to them about the Aramco IPO.